The following presentation containing footage from our presentation, which was developed by Sean Simmons, Stephen Rakic, Nick Stamakin, and Jacob Messina, was created and uploaded for entertainment and educational reasons. The commentary also contained is not affiliated with us, nor is it endorsed or encouraged by said developers. We do not share or condone any of the following views.
Hi there, I'm Bill Clinton, and welcome to our 2016 Prime Minister debate between whacked-out Donald Trump.
I'm Donald Trump. Make Canada great again. Build the wall. Keep the Americans out.
And my loving, beautiful, intelligent wife, Hillary Clinton.
Shut up, Bill. We're on a break, remember?
Yes, honey. And since Bernie Sanders was elected president of the United States and rightfully exiled Donald Trump, and for no good reason banned my wife, she has decided to run for the vacant seat of Prime Minister of Canada. So today, we will be discussing the youth and education for our Canadian colleges.
Men smarter than women. I mean, it's no debate. We use better words. We use the best words. Clearly, we're smarter. I mean, look at me. I'm Donald Trump, and I won the Saskatchewan vote.
Now you and I both know that's a load of honky-tonk.
Hello, I'm Stephen Rakic, and I'm going to be your fact checker for tonight. Based on a survey done by a very large Canadian online college, we have found 1,400 observations from their students. Some of the variables included in this study are high school grades, gender, college GPA, number of courses taken, and many other factors. This is a big topic because in today's society, we are trying to move closer and closer towards gender equality, and you often hear about the debate how women earn less than the average man for the same amount of work. In a Huffington Post article in 2014, it was decided that women who earn an average of an A in high school earn the same amount as a male who earns a C in high school. Also, we interviewed a high school teacher from Munster, Indiana. Her name is Nicole Safaz, and she teaches history. She found out through her observations that girls are more organized but not necessarily smarter than boys.
No, 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 no. Hillary, look at this evidence Trump has right here.
With our data, we have run some tests to see if we could find some possible explanations for this issue. Here we have the average male and female GPAs from our studies, which clearly proves that there is a numerical difference that have men with higher GPA and women with lower GPA.
Booyah!
That's cute, but does it have statistical significance?
Actually, Hillary's correct, and we can prove this by our hypothesis testing. Here we have our null hypothesis, where female college GPAs are equivalent to male college GPAs. Also, we have our alternate hypothesis, where female GPAs are significantly less than male college GPAs. Next, to prove this, we have to find our t-score, which is found by taking the sample mean minus the population mean all over the standard deviation of the sample size divided by the number of participants. Therefore, we get the t-score of 1.502. After, we need to find our critical value of a one-tailed test with an alpha of 0.05. We find this by looking at our t-distribution, where we'll clearly see that we have a critical value of 1.646. Finally, we must compare the t-score and the critical value. If the t-score is less than the critical value, as you can clearly see on the bell curve, it does not fall into the critical value range, we must accept the null hypothesis, proving that there is not enough of a statistical difference. Although the t-score proved that there is no statistical difference between average college male GPA and average college female GPA, we decided to run a regression analysis and correlation to find out the relationship between being female and the college GPA. So in the correlation, as you can see, if you are a female, your college GPA will be 0.04 lower than if you were a male. This is a very, very weak negative correlation. So we ran a bivariate regression and found out a couple things. Firstly, our multiple R is our correlation, which is 0.04. Secondly, we have the R squared, which is 0.0016, which tells us how well our regression fits our data. Secondly, we have our F statistic, which is 2.257, which tells us that it is more of a variation between male versus female than it is within male and within female. Lastly, we have all of our confidence intervals for the 95 percentile.
When I'm right, I'm right. When you're wrong, you're stupid.
Well, you see, Hillary, what I think happened is I think men start smarter than girls. In high school, we're smarter. But then in college, we get into the whole drinking, partying, chasing women. You should ask your husband about that. Bottom line is, men are smarter than women in high school.
But if you're smarter in high school, does that even make you smarter in college?
Actually, Donald Trump is wrong. We could prove this by another hypothesis testing. Here we have our null hypothesis, where female high school GPA is equivalent to male high school GPA, and our alternate hypothesis, where female high school GPA is less than male high school GPA. Next, we also have to find the t-score. By using the same method that we had in the last hypothesis testing, we have a t-score of negative 1.897. Again, we need to find the critical value of a one-tailed test with an alpha of 0.05. And similarly to our previous hypothesis testing, the critical value is 1.646. If we had our alternate hypothesis as female high school GPA is not equal to male high school GPA, this would transform into a two-tailed test, which we would have a critical value of positive and negative 1.96. However, this t-score would still not fall into the critical range, therefore it still supports our null hypothesis. So in conclusion, we must accept our null hypothesis because there's not a significant difference between female high school GPAs and male high school GPAs. Now that we've proven that there is no statistically significant difference between male and female high school GPAs, we'd like to see if there's a correlation between your high school GPA and your college GPA. Here we have the correlation between high school GPA and college GPA, which is the strongest correlation we've found thus far. This tells you that the GPA you have in high school, for every 1 point, your college GPA will be up 0.432.
Ha! Told you!
The problem with your argument here, Hillary, the problem with this whole argument, is men take more classes. Women, while you're focused on getting your Mrs. degree, we're over here taking 5-6 classes a year. And these classes are hard. We're taking economics, we're taking business, and other really, really great stuff.
This is very invalid. I took just as many classes when I went to college.
Actually, let's conduct a hypothesis test to figure out which one of you guys is right. Here we have our null hypothesis with the number of average courses a male takes is equivalent to the number of average courses a female takes. Here we have our alternate hypothesis where the average number of courses a male takes is greater than the average number of courses a female takes. As always, we must find our t-score. By using the same equation that we have used in the previous test, we can find that our t-score is equal to negative 3.220. Now we must find the critical value for a one-tailed test with an alpha of 0.05. Like previous tests, we have it at 1.646. And because the t-score is at negative 3.220, it does not fall into the critical range. Therefore, we must accept the null hypothesis that the number of average male courses is equivalent to the number of average female courses, and reject the alternate hypothesis that males take more courses than females. However, when we switch our alternate hypothesis, stating that females take more courses than males, our critical value switches and turns negative. Our t-score then falls into this critical range. So in conclusion, we have to reject the null hypothesis that male and female take the same amount of courses and accept the alternate hypothesis where females take more courses than males. So in summary, we've proven that males do not actually take more classes than females, and that females do in fact take more than males. So, you're wrong, Trump.
Donald, has anything you said today been true or accurate?
I don't know. Donald out.
So in conclusion, we have our multivariate regression equation with three main factors. The first one being if you are female or not, which is represented by a 0 or a 1, 0 being male, 1 being female. Secondly, we have the number of courses you are taking on a scale of 2 to 6. And lastly, we have our high school grade, which is on a scale of 0 to 100. And we also have our constant. Now, we're going to do an example to prove that our multivariate regression equation fits the model. First, we'll start out with a female, which is represented by a 1. Secondly, the number of courses taken by women is roughly 5, so we'll enter that for our second variable. Lastly, the average high school grade for a female is 78, so we'll round that up to 80. If you plug this in, you will get a total college GPA of 1.66, which is fairly close to the average female grade of 1.77.